45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see.
Oh, welcome in and happy New Year's, everyone, and welcome to 2024 and episode 353 of the Dream Wager. Today is January 1st, 2024. Got to get it used to saying that and writing it down. Probably won't get to that probably till about February, but I am your host, D-Rock, and joining me as always is our NBA guru, my partner in crime. E, how you feeling today? A little drunk or no?
Nah, Dill, not at all. You know, a little under the weather, but other than that, Dill, we're doing great. You know, Happy New Year to all the listeners out there. Hope everybody had a great New Year's, had a great night. Hopefully, you're not feeling too saucy this morning, Dill. Let's talk about the weekend.
Now, is it true that you get sick around this time every year or every other year?
Every other year or every year. Like 3 out of the last 5 definitely was sick on New Year's. I don't know why. It's either I'm sick during Christmas or New Year's. It's a rough week, people, you know?
Yeah, shout out our boy Dan. Ravens are king of the North. Dan, you'll be happy I'm wearing my MVP Lamar shirt right now. He says Ravens are king of the North. Dolphins equal frauds. Niners frauds equals always fraudulent. We'll get into that all today. We'll recap week 17, what we saw, our records. No Monday Night Football this week. We got college football playoffs, Alabama versus Michigan, and Washington versus Texas. Is Texas really back? We will discuss. And we got 6 NBA games on the slate today. But Elvis, let's recap the games real quick. We'll start with the Saturday. They get Jerry Jones into the Ring of Honor.
Jimmy Johnson,
excuse me. I loved it. I want to start there because you knew at the end of his speech, he was like, I got one last thing to say. How about them Cowboys?
You gotta be careful now. You gotta be careful.
And to be honest, it's a shame that they lost the game. I know technically they won the game, but the Lions, they got robbed, man. 20-19. Are you surprised Dan Campbell went for 2 instead of kicking the field goal?
Yes, especially after 2 attempts. One with arguably one of the worst calls in recent history, and then the offsides with Minka, whatever. I would have just kicked it, forced overtime. Hey, you got all the momentum on your side. Yeah. But maybe it was just too emotion. Like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to go out there and still win the game. I personally would have kicked it after 2 attempts, especially, when the refs deciding it the way it was. I would have been like, you know what? Let's just play for overtime, Dill. But at the end of the day, he won the game once. Yeah. He won the game once, so I'm not mad that he went for it again and again. I ain't mad at him at all. But Dill, clearly they got robbed. The NFL came down and said that those refs will be downgraded and would not host any playoff games. To me, it should be a far more punishment than that. Not just getting playoff games. I think it should be something next year. I think every single one of those refs in that staff should be questioned. Like what happened? Because clearly on video, there's multiple angles of 68 coming up to him, and he did it. Yeah.
I don't know. And apparently it came out, our buddy Ant told us that this crew had the Saint Rams playoff game a few years back where they messed up that call. So this crew has a history of messing up calls. Are they shaving points? Is that a real question?
At the end of the day, I never once in my life I was like, it's the NFL rigged. Saturday night, I was like, damn, I could see why. I could see why people question it. Because that's the first time ever, and it happened, the flag came in,
late.
40 seconds after this, I'm over here, jaw drop, holy shit. They
came back, yeah.
And then out of nowhere, there's a flag on I'm like, what's going on? And then illegal, out of everything is illegal touching. Bro, he reported.
He reported to the line.
You simply saw him report and said 70 and not 68. That man is about, I'm going to just guess 6'6", 340.
Yeah.
You telling me you did not see that? You telling me you did not see him? It's it's a crucial moment of the game. Is live this is millions of people around the world is watching this game right now, and you're just gonna miss just like that.
And it's like not a game where these teams didn't have implications. This had a lot of implications. You know, they win. They probably had a better shot at the 1 seed. And for the Cowboys, you know, if they lost this game, they probably still would have stayed where they were with the Eagles since they lost as well. But yeah, this is a game that had a lot of implications. You saw how Decker was irate. Dan Campbell was. I would have been thrown out of the game. I mean,
I would have touched somebody. I would have touched somebody personally. But you know, the fact that about it, we're what's this? 5 minutes and 45 seconds into the show, and we yet to talk about play. We're talking about what refs did in the game.
Yeah.
To me, that's just a damn shame.
We can't take away. CeeDee Lamb had a historical game. I mean, that is besides him, the defense for the Lions actually played pretty well. Yeah, they just couldn't guard CeeDee.
If it wasn't for 55 just completely missing, I think his name is Barnes, completely missing a safety / sack on Dak Prescott. He literally just bumped him, though. He didn't even grab him. He just literally just ran into him like this. Like, if you just come up with that sack, CeeDee still has a huge day. But, Dill, that's a game changer. You just had to come up with that one sack. Think about it, Dill. That was a third and what? At the 8, something at the 8? It was
like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, something like that, I thought.
At the 8-yard line.
Yeah.
And you're just going to avoid a sack and then scramble and then throw it 50 yards down the field. Like, you can't make shit like that up, you know? So, at the end of the day, you know, CeeDee had a great game. Like you said, Brandon Cooks, you know, did a little something there. But the main concern to me moving forward is not Dak Prescott, it's not CeeDee Lamb. Even the defense showed up pretty good. It's the running game, Dill. 61 total yards. What I'm supposed to do with that? Tony Potter's averaging 3 yards a carry. Like, what I'm supposed to do that? Like, you had CeeDee Lamb go out there. You had Deuce Vaughn in the game. You know, you had your backup Dowds. He was hurt. Like, you know, at the end of the day, Tony Potter's 16 catches for under 50 yards ain't going to get the job done, especially when you need to, you know, work down the clock, especially come playoff time. So I think that you have to do something. The offensive line got the talent to do it. It's just, I don't know if it's Tony Pollard. I don't know if it's Mike McCarthy straight out lied to the people. He said, we're going to go back to running the ball.
That's what I was going to bring up. Thank you. Because when he took over for Kellen Moore and said, we want to be an old school, pound the nose, beat you up front in the trenches, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They haven't done that the whole year. I think Tony Pollard has had 1 or 2 good games this season, if that. They couldn't do it by committee. Deuce Vaughn is okay. CeeDee Lamb even got in the mix rushing the ball. But yeah, man, this running game has been non-existent. Still undefeated, though, at home. I thought Dak played pretty well towards the end of the game. Jared Goff,
besides those picks, he played well. You know, like he played great, to be honest. Besides those 2 interceptions, one was a great play by Wilson, by the way. So I'm gonna say one bad pick. The other one was just a great read by Wilson. But at the end of the day, you know, the offense showed up, you know, over 120 yards on the ground. Amon St. Brown, 90 yards. Sam Laporta, 80 yards. Jameis Williams, great catch down the field. He ended up, I think, having a little ankle injury. But they'll, you know, the Lions played well enough to win this game, to steal it against, you know, Dallas. Even with, you know, losing the turnover battle, they were in position. Like you said, they should have won this game. Like, I'm not going to take much of Jared Goff. You know, I understand the QBR and all that, not great. But to me, at the end of the day, the offense, the defense, special everything, the Lions were simply the better team Saturday night.
Yeah, and they proved it. But yeah, no, big win for the Cowboys. Very controversial, but they do get the win at home. They improved to 8-0 at home. Let's go to Sunday, Elvis. I mean, the way the game started, I said Patriots money line again. It looked like they were gonna come out there and win. And even with the 4 turnovers, you had the 1 fumble, you had the 3 interceptions from Zappe. Regardless of that, you guys were always in this game. Plus 14 was very disrespectful. You said it on the show on Saturday.
Ended at 14.5 too. More disrespect.
More disrespect. And you advise people to take it on a tease or get a little more room for comfort. But you know, I thought the Patriots didn't play all that bad. I thought besides the interceptions and Bailey Zappi turning the ball over 3 times, I thought you guys ran the ball pretty well. Zappi ran it pretty well. Ezekiel Elliott, even have Kevin Harris run the ball. But outside that, the defense could only do so much. I mean, you forced Josh Allen, no touchdowns. passing, but he did have 2 running. They ran the ball, but collectively, James Cook had 48 yards, Josh Allen had 44, Ty Johnson had 22. You picked him off. Outside of Dalton Kincaid, a little surprising game from him, 4 catches, 87 yards. Outside of that, I thought the defense for the Patriots played pretty well. What do you think from your team?
Yo, to be honest, if it wasn't for the turnovers, Patriots would have won this football game. Remember, we had a pick six in this game early, I think first or second quarter that basically broke the game open, but we fought ourselves back. Like you said, Dill, Josh Allen wasn't able to get nothing through the air. Gabe Davis on clamps, Stephon Diggs on clamps. Besides Dalton Kincaid, nobody else was able to do anything really. And then, like you said, in the running game, Dill, they did it by committee, but nobody really torched us. James Cook didn't, torch us. Josh Allen, he just basically they got a new tush push in Buffalo. I'll be honest, it's kind of effective. Josh Allen about 6'4", 240. He's a big guy, so he could definitely handle, go through the trenches and finish into the goal line. So, to be honest, that we played well enough. This is another team. We play enough to win this game. If it wasn't for that pick six, who knows? But at the end of the day, Bailey Zappi, I'm not going to say he played well because all the turnovers, though. But at the end of the day, he made some good throws. He made some plays with his legs. Our defense played well enough, like I said, to win the game, though. So, at the end of the day, I'm still happy that we lost. Just so we can solidify that. And the Cardinals won, by the way. So,
exactly. You're in the 3rd spot.
So hopefully by next week we're back at number 2. We'll see how things go, but I highly doubt it because we're playing you.
No, you guys are gonna lose.
Yeah, we're gonna win by 20. But at the end of the day, the Bills took care of business, but it wasn't an impressive. The last 2 weeks, realistically,
but a win is a win.
A win is a win, Dill. But the fact that you only beat us by 6, and then the Chargers with Easton Stick by 3 points, it's not cute.
No, and luckily for them, the Dolphins lost. So it's going to come down to Week 18, Sunday Night Football, Bills, Dolphins for the division. Can't wait because if the Bills win, they own the tiebreaker between the two. But you're right. The past 2 weeks haven't looked impressive, but a win is a win. They get out of there. And Bill Belichick in division, it was going to be a hard game. Regardless of the season the Patriots are having, kid, you knew the Bill was going to play the Buffalo Bills hard. It just always happens. So big win for the Bills, and they're playing for the division. They're still in the playoff spot right now, sitting at the 6th seed. So a lot to play for still come Week 18. Let's keep going down the list. Bears, they blew out the Falcons 37-17. It was a snowing game. I didn't know that was happening.
Well, first half. It stopped second half. Well, first half snow. Nothing crazy, but
they're both eliminated. I mean, DJ Moore, 9 catches, 159 yards. Khalil Hubbard, 18 carries, 124 yards and a touchdown. I know the Bears, they've lost. The Bears have won and played pretty well these past couple of weeks, but Justin Fields looks pretty good. I guess moving forward to next season, because they will have the number 1 pick. They solidified it with the Carolina loss. Do you go and draft a quarterback, or do you stick it out and get Marvin Harrison for him or Justin Fields, or do you believe in Justin Fields, I guess?
All I'm going to say is I'm going to say what the crowd said, the own fans in the building.
We want Justin.
We want Fields.
Yeah.
We want Fields. So if I'm the front office, I'm going to listen to the people. At the end, you draft Harrison, and then you get an offensive lineman, and then, see where things go. At the end of the day, Justin Fields is a talented player. He needs to be a little more consistent in the passing game because we know what he could do with his legs.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think he's shown you enough this past month and a half to 2 months that, if I'm healthy and we're grooving at the right time, he's a really good quarterback. If you give him Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ Moore, get him an offensive line. Right now, they're second. They're sitting at a number 10 overall. So they could get an offensive line maybe from Northwestern, Ohio State, or the guy out of Notre Dame is really good as well. I forgot his name, but he should be good to go in the top 10 as well. And I got to correct myself. Falcons are not out of the playoffs just yet. 7-9. They are technically in the hunt. They need a lot to go their way, though, for them to make the playoffs. Colts, they take care of business against the Raiders, 23-20. You're plus 3.5. Barely gets there. That was a sweaty bet. But, big game for Devontae Adams, 13 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aiden O'Connell played pretty well. I'm not going to lie.
And O'Connell played better than we anticipated, honestly. But at the end of the day, there's no reason why he should be dropping back 47 times. This team, I understand Zamir Wright played well last week. Had a decent game this week, but this team and offensively, you could tell they definitely missed Josh Jacobs. He was just a stone for this offense. And then, with the Colts on the other side, I think it was a great win. Now they're live, 3-way tie, possibly to win the division as well, live for a playoff spot. So I think we just got to give Gardner Minshew and the team overall credit. No Michael Pittman Jr. Pierce had a great, ball over the middle. Jonathan Taylor had a good game as well. So give the Colts for credit for taking care of business out on the at home. But at the end of the Raiders, still they played well enough. They played well enough. I like what I saw.
Yeah, I like what I saw. This whole even as soon as Antonio Pierce took over the head coaching job, I really liked how this team has come out and competed. They might have not won every game, but they are competitive, not like they were. Like they were getting blown out in some games. At least they're fighting and showing you some heart going into next season. They're eliminated right now, but Colts, they still have a chance to get in. They're in the hunt 9-7. They still have an opportunity to win the division. So Colts, everything is in front of them, but big win to take care of business at home. Rams, welcome back to the playoffs. Last time the Rams were in the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl. This is a team I don't want to see in the playoffs. It wasn't the prettiest at MetLife, but they get the job done 26-25. I didn't think Matthew Stafford played all that well. Another big game from Karen Williams. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. It looked like Cooper Kupp got banged up a little bit, but Puka Nacua, another big game. And that's what I was telling you earlier in the day yesterday, watching the games. I said, I know we want to give credit to Matthew Stafford, only quarterback in the NFC to win the Super Bowl right now. Sean McVay, their win total was at 4.5, 5.5. This is a 9. This could possibly be a 10-win team. So what he's doing with this team is very impressive. And in the GM, hitting home runs on Karen Williams late in the draft, Puka Nacua late in the draft. They mortgaged all their first-round draft capital for the Super Bowl. They got it. And now the work that he's done, I mean, it can't go understated. The from top down, from management to head coaching to veteran leadership with Matthew Stafford, this is a really good team.
Yeah, Dale. Like I said, these past 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 6, this offense is just playing at a high level. Ever since Matthew Stafford returned from injury, like you said, Karen Williams had another great day. 3 tutties. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, even DeMarcus Robinson as of late. I think he scored 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games or something like that. He's been a big X factor for this offense, honestly, Dale. He had a huge game, 92 yards, 6 catches. Nacua 118. Tyler Higbee 60. It just shows you that this offense can do it with the passing game and running game. We know the evil genius. I'm not gonna say evil, but the genius. Sean McVay is, the boy wonder. He won the Super Bowl at 30 years old, 29 years old, coaching it. So at the end of the day, when Matthew Stafford is healthy, and Sean McVay's, doing his thing, this offense is capable of doing anything. It's can that defense stop what they're doing? Can Matthew Stafford lower the turnovers? That's what kept the Giants in the game. One was a pick six, the other one was a turnover on their side of the field. So if Matthew Stafford just plays a clean game, I wouldn't, like you said earlier, I wouldn't want to. If I'm, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Lions, I do not want to see the Rams.
No, not at all. And they did solidify that number 6 seed. Welcome back to the playoffs. And like you said, I think that's why they were so successful during their run last month, is because the turnovers. Matthew Stafford wasn't turning it over. He has a history of giving it up.
He does.
And yet yesterday was just a little too much. Thankfully, it was against the Giants, and they got the win. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go to the fraudulent Eagles, man. They lose at home to the fucking Arizona Cardinals 35-31. Helps us because now Arizona moves down to the number 4 slot in the draft right now. But man, what a game Kyler Murray had. 25 for 31, 232 yards, 3 TDs. He ran for 24 yards. And James Conner, man. This guy is a beast. 26 carries, 128 yards, almost 5 yards a pop. He had the touchdown. they couldn't stop him. He even had a receiving touchdown, 1 catch for 5 yards as well. Greg Dortch, he had a great game, 7 catches, 82 yards. We said this day in and day out. It's not the offense we really worry about with the Eagles. We know they could go down. Jalen Hurts could lead this team to go down and score some points. It's the defense. It's the middle of the field. And again, this team blows a big lead. And to add insult to injury now, I just got an update from, I didn't get it, but he tweeted it out to the world, Jeremy Fowler. Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith suffered a mild ankle injury, sprained ankle, and he's questionable for the last week of the season. They've already clinched the playoffs, but I mean, going forward, can you really trust this Eagle team to go on the road and actually win?
Still, not really. The way this defense, like you said, it's not the offense we're worried about. Jalen Hurts had himself a good game, 18 for 23. Besides the 1 interception, didn't have a ton of yards, but 3 touchdowns. The running game did all right. It's just, Dill, defensively, I don't know what it is. They can't stop a nosebleed, especially doing these 5. Think about it. This team just 6 weeks ago was 10-1. Over the last 5 weeks, this team is 1-4. Like, defensively, Dill, secondary. I don't know what it is, but they're just not good. Like you said, Kyler Murray. Fuck Kyler Murray. James Conner and company, Michael Carter, just ran the ball down and threw 220 yards on the road. This team is from Arizona. This team is from Arizona. They out here running the ball down your throat. In December, on New Year's Eve, Philadelphia, what are you doing? Like, you're a 12.5-point favorite. What are you doing? Like, Sirianni, aren't you supposed to be a defensive coach, defensive-minded coach? What's going on? You let 35 up to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray played great. I think Kyler Murray earned a little respect from you, didn't he?
He did.
Because not for nothing for our loyal listeners out there, y'all know, but my man Dylan be talking breezy about my man Kyler Murray. I'm telling you, he's like that, but we both agree he likes video games a little too much. Dill, what Arizona was able to do to this secondary, to this defense, it's just, I'm not going to say I'm shocked, but it's just surprising how bad this defense has looked, especially over this last 5-week stretch.
And it's great because Jonathan Gannon, ex-coordinator for the Eagles last season, gets the head coaching job, comes back to the link, and gets a huge win. I think what was so impressive, too, was every time Philly answered, Arizona came right down the field and answered. I was like, I fucking love that. And you knew the boys wanted this win for Jonathan Gannon. You saw him run back to the sideline when Kyler Murray drove him down the field. Converted to the 2-point. He was fucking hype. He took the helmet off. Low-key, I was rooting for Arizona. I was like, let's go. But yeah, I mean, this defense worries me. This is a team you do want to play in the playoffs right now because it seems like I feel like the last month and a half we've been talking about the defense. Bradbury, he can't guard a soul.
We saw it in the Seahawks game. He got torched 92 yards solo.
Oh my God, it's bad. I mean, I don't know what you do. Honestly, they're in trouble losing the division right now. Cowboy, they have the tiebreaker. They play the Giants on the road at MetLife next week. So, and that's no guaranteed win. If Giants play the way they played, Giants could beat this team, and that's not an exaggeration.
And Tyrod Taylor can move the ball. I guess that defense, I give him a shot to go at least 250.
100%. So should be very interesting, but big win for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go down to Tampa Bay. New Orleans keeps their dreams alive. 8-8. They are tied with Tampa Bay on top of the NFC South. But what a game fucking Derek Carr actually had, man. I talk a lot of shit, but he actually outdueled Baker Mayfield. Baker didn't really play well. He threw for a lot of garbage time yards, if I'm being honest. It was all towards the fourth quarter when they scored 13 points. But other than that, they weren't really able to run the ball. Rashard White probably had one of his worst games of the season. The defense for the Saints, they traveled and they played well. Jawan Johnson came out of nowhere, 8 catches, 90 yards. He had a touchdown. Taysom Hill had a touchdown as well. Alvin Kamara did leave the game a little banged up, but I think they'll be all right. 8-8, Saints still alive.
Yeah, the most impressive factor to me for the Saints in this game was the fact that they was able to win this game on the road without their best players making an impact. Alvin Kamara gets hurt basically in the first quarter, first half. He's out for the rest of the game. Chris Olave, only 3 catches, 26 yards. The rookie Rashid Shaheed, 2 catches, 14 yards. You had Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill making most of the plays. You had Jamal Williams, former Detroit running back, making plays. Like you said, Derek Carr didn't have the huge numbers, but 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, still will get the job done. So the fact that the Saints was able to put up 23 against that defense on the road and play clean football without, you could say, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave making a major impact in the game, to me, that's impressive.
Yeah, 100%. All going to come down to week 18. Thankfully, Tampa has the Panthers next, and New Orleans plays last week 18, against the Falcons. So looks like if Tampa Bay wins next week, they win the division, regardless if New Orleans wins against the Falcons. So should be interesting. But yeah, no, big win going on the road and beating Tampa Bay to keep your playoff dreams alive. Let's keep it rolling on Sunday. Big win. They lock up the number 1 seed, 49ers. Big bounce back from Brock Purdy. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. They ran the ball. Christian McCaffrey got banged up, kind of lost me our fantasy.
Same.
See, he went down. But other than that, Elijah Mitchell stepped up. He had a nice game, 17 carries, 80 yards. He had a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk had a big game, 114 yards and a touchdown. The Super Bowl in the NFC, the pathway is through the Bay Area. What do you think there?
Yeah, it was just a great overall team win. Defense played well. Like you said, Christian McCaffrey leaving with an ankle injury, nothing serious, but why force it when you have a double-digit lead and it's already the second half. Elijah Mitchell came right in and picked it right up, 17 touches, 80 yards, 1 TD. So it's not like it was a major drop-off. It was honestly an improvement. Elijah Mitchell, fresh legs, like you said. Brock Purdy, only 6 incompletions, another great day doing passing the ball. Brandon Ayuk just been having a tremendous season. Deebo Samuel doing with the legs and the passing game. So what more could you say? They solidified the number 1 seed with the Eagles loss. Like you said, got to go through San Francisco to get to the Super Bowl. Let's see if they could go all the way.
Yeah, the Redskins lost 7 in a row. They're tied with Arizona and you guys as one of the worst records in the league. So we need them to win week 18. We need them to win for you guys to move up. But the way they're playing,
they play the Cowboys, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they've kind of punted on the season, if I'm being honest. Let's keep it rolling. We don't really got to talk about this one. Jaguars 26-0. Panthers solidified the number 1 seed. CJ Beathard, not the biggest game. Travis Etienne had a good game on the ground, 16 carries, 102 yards, and 2 TDs. But Jaguars, they should have won this game 26-0. Any thoughts here real quick?
It was impressive that they won 26-0. I'm not saying they should have won 26-0, but CJ Beathard and company, they just played well defense. One of the best outing all seasons. Not much to say against Bryce Young, but they took care of business. Now it's up to them to win the division next week.
And then the matchup of the day, I hate to toot my own horn, kid, and I told you, we listen back on Saturday, I said, this reminds me of like a Jacksonville game, wasn't prime time, but, a lot of people doubting the Ravens coming off the big win on the road on Christmas, coming back home. They think some regression's going to come against a good Dolphin team, coming off a good win against the Cowboys. I said, I was like, I think they're going to blow them out, man. I really do. And the game, I think Lamar solidified the MVP yesterday, 18 for 21, over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was only sacked once, on top of 6 carries for 35 yards. I mean, this guy did it all. Gus Edwards had a big game, 16 carries, 68 yards. Justice Hill, Zay Flowers, 106 yards. Isaiah Likely, 2 touchdowns. He had the one with the one-handed. I mean, and defense. Roquan Smith, they picked off Tua twice. Best defense in the league, one of the best offenses. They solidified the number 1 seed, and Lamar Jackson wrapped up his second MVP.
Yeah, it was just, first quarter, it was a shootout, looked good, and then the Baltimore Ravens just put their foot on the Miami Dolphins' necks. At the end of the day, the Ravens in that defense just said, that's enough.
Yeah.
Tua, 2 picks, the 2 touchdowns, they were good, but at the end of the day, Miami ran the ball well. Kane over 100 on the ground. Tyreek Hill, never really got in rhythm. You saw that big drop early. That was a misplay there. He didn't really kill you. Definitely missed Jalen Waddle too as well. But overall, though, I think this was just a story about Lamar Jackson and then the offense. The defense played great. But that offense, Miami could have scored 40. This still would have lost by 16. So Lamar Jackson another game perfect passer rating. I think this is his third of his career. Only Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Big Ben. What a company that is to join. Like you said, to me, the best throw of the day was the one to Zay Flowers down.
Oh, dime.
That was a dime. I always say if you can hit him on stride, that's what makes it a dime. Not just he's wide open, but the fact that the wide receiver doesn't need to speed up or slow down. He could just keep running in stride. That's what makes it a dime, people. So 18 for 21, 325 TDs. Still, that's how you solidify an MVP right there.
Minus 9,000 for Lamar Jackson.
Right now?
I mean, right now it was minus 2,000. Yeah,
I saw minus 2,000. Like, yes, damn. I wonder. How many people had to bet the minus 2,000 then,
bro. And I know Dan texted me Zay Flowers Rookie of the Year. He is fourth right now at 20-1. Sam Laporta's 10-1. Puka Nacua plus 450. CJ Stroud minus 900. I think CJ's gonna get it.
CJ has to get it. At the end of the day, Zay
this
Flowers
was like a 3-win team last year.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. Don't get me wrong, he's great, but can we honestly say this team wouldn't still be the number one seed without Zay Flowers?
They probably would, and
they probably no. That's my whole point. They probably would be. The Texans would not be a 9-win team if it wasn't for CJ Stroud. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Because look at them when he was out with 2 games with a concussion. They weren't the same team at all. And I love Zay Flowers. I think he's helped Lamar. He's great. I love Zay Flowers. And you talked about this offense because we don't really have to worry about this defense. I think the defense, well, they're not going to have to move because all their games wrestling is going to be at the bank. But even when they had to travel, this defense traveled offensively. They're missing a top 5 tight end. They're missing J.K. Dobbins. Like, this team continues to get hurt and just battle through adversity. Job's not done. 13-3. And man, this team is fucking dangerous. They are the real deal. This is probably like seriously watching the Ravens dating back to 2017 when I was in college to now. This might be the best Raven team I've seen. Offensively, defensively, like they come out prepared. John Harbaugh's a top 5 coach. And the first year that's new offensive coordinator for Georgia, the way he's dicing teams up, the positions he's putting Lamar in, Lamar's elevating, everyone around him is elevating, and it's just really pretty to see, if I'm being honest. It's just really nice football to watch. So happy for them. You're probably going to lock in your Lamar MVP ticket. 15-1, correct, in the beginning of the year?
18
plus 18-1. Wow, what a fucking play. They locked up the 1 seed. So the Super Bowl in the AFC goes through Baltimore. You gotta fucking love it, kid. What else? Texans, they keep their hopes alive. They beat the Tennessee Titans 26-23. CJ Stroud, first game back, looking pretty good. 213 yards, 1 touchdown. Nico Collins, he goes over for me, 7 catches, 80 yards. They keep their playoff hopes alive. They need to win out next week. But anything on this game?
Yeah, it was just impressive how good the defense looked. CJ Stroud coming back. Like I said, I didn't expect much from him first week back. It's just how good the defense looked. A couple turnovers. We saw that strict sack. Ended up being a strip 6, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah, it was.
When Will Levis ended up leaving the game as well. Similar to Ryan Tannehill, no disrespect, but we know the game was over right then and there. So give Texas credit. Now they're, viable for a playoff spot. Hopefully they can make something happen against the Colts this upcoming week.
My dog of the day, Cash, as I said it, this solidifies another positive year for Mike Tomlin, regardless of what happens next week in Baltimore or at home. Yeah, no, it's in Baltimore. Pittsburgh Steelers will have another winning record. They're still alive as well. They have a 29% chance of making the playoffs. They need some things to go their way, but another good game, I think, from Mason Rudolph. Obviously, it was the run game. Najee Harris, he ran with a fuck. This looked like Alabama and Najee Harris, if I'm being honest. 27 carries for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Warren had a good game, 75 yards, a touchdown on the ground. And George Pickens, another big game, 7 catches, 131 yards. This team went on the road and fucking dominated this Seattle team. What are your thoughts from Pittsburgh?
Dale, the first thing I can honestly say is why did they didn't make the change to Mason Rudolph like week 3? All seriously, still, because this offense has taken off. Let's just be real. This offense has taken off of Mason Rudolph, like you said. Najee Harris and Warren, both of them. Najee Harris ran the ball great, but Warren ran the ball pretty damn good as well. Over 200 yards on the ground in Seattle against Pete Carroll. Like you said, Dale, Mason Rudolph, 18 for 24, 274. I understand he didn't have no touchdowns, people, but guess what? 0 interceptions. That's the key. At the end of the day, Dale, I'm kind of shocked how well Mason Rudolph and this offense performed for back-to-back weeks. We've seen so many teams be inconsistent all year, and the fact that Mason Rudolph and the Steelers have pulled back-to-back games like that, like you said, George Pickens, another monster game. Ever since the noise came out, he's been just showing up. So good shit for him. Devontae Johnson had himself a pretty good game as well. So it was just a great overall game from the Steelers defensively, especially offensively. And then with the Seahawks, they're basically done. I don't think they have a shot to make the playoffs. Maybe a very slim chance, but besides the first quarter, Kenneth Walker didn't run the ball well after the first quarter with Geno Smith. He looked all right, not for nothing. DK Metcalf had a huge game, but other than that, Jackson Smith, Jigba, just the one catch for the touchdown. Other than that, Seattle didn't really look impressive in my eyes.
I was gonna ask you. Ever since Kenneth Walker came back from injury, Geno Smith was banged up a little bit. When coming back, they haven't looked the same. Or am I seeing something different?
I just feel like it's the matchups as well, and then, like I do agree with this though. Kenneth Walker has slowed down a little bit because the first 8 weeks of the season he was on a tear. The last few weeks, he's still getting the touchdowns and whatnot, but the huge yard games you haven't really seen much recently. And then honestly, though, defensively, Seattle's known for their defense. Still, that defense has it, especially the two young DBs, man. They haven't really been showing up as of late. They got torched. Johnson and Pickens over 200 yards combined.
Yeah, no, they have been getting torched. I think the rookie Reek Wooden, he got benched twice this season already. So, I mean, I'm surprised Geno really didn't force the ball to Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had the nice one touchdown, but outside that, he only had one other target. Like, you got to get him involved. I mean, he's your second best receiver. No disrespect to Tyler Lockett. I like Tyler Lockett, but there's no reason he should only have one catch either. DK had a big game, which he's your best receiver. He should. But outside that, like, Geno, you got to get the ball to JSN and Tyler Lockett. There's no reason for him not to. So this team all year has been a very up and down, inconsistent team, a very hard team to get a read on, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it hurts their chances right now. They are technically still alive in the 8th seed in the hunt. They have a 27% chance. Things got to go their way, but technically still alive going into week 18. 4 o'clock slate, like we just mentioned, Seahawks lose at home to the Steelers. Chargers, I don't really got to touch on this game. They fucking suck. 16-9, Broncos get the win at home. Stidham 224 touchdown kid. He's going to start next week too. Maybe week 1 next year.
I highly doubt it. Good win for the Broncos. The crowd sounded electric for them, but the season's over. Chargers, better luck next year. Hopefully Justin Herbert returns healthy. Hopefully I get a good head coach, better than Stanley, But at the end they deal with the Broncos. I just want to know what they're going to do this offseason. With all the drama as of late with Russell Wilson. Yeah. I don't think Stidham is going to be the guy. They got some weapons on the outside. Defensively, they're, pretty good. It's just going to be an interesting offseason for the Denver Broncos. And I'll be honest, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. Chiefs get back in the win column at home, 25-7. They barely cover the spread. Game goes under as well. Patrick Mahomes, I didn't think had a bad game at all. He only completed 8 passes, 245 yards. He had that touchdown throw to Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco had a hell of a game, catching the ball and running the ball. 130 yards. I mean, the Bengals couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground. Rashid Rice had a big game as well. He had that long 67-yard catch. One fucking shy away. He only had 5 catches. I needed over 5.5, but he continues to be. I'm keep an eye on him. He continues to really develop into Patrick Mahomes' number one receiver, even with Kelsey on the floor. Look at Kelsey's day yesterday. They were double covering him the whole game. 3 catches, 16 yards. He didn't do anything. MVS didn't do anything. Noah Grant didn't do anything. Justin Watson had that one big catch for 40 yards. But outside of that, it's Rashid Rice. He is their best receiver. So, I mean, big win, but I think the star of the game has to be Harrison Butker. 6 for 6, the longest as a 54-yarder. He had 19 points by himself. He won the game.
Yeah. Second half, it was just all Butler, to be honest. He scored the last points of the game. Nobody scored basically but him in the whole second half, Dill. Like you said, I'll say this, Dill. Patrick Mahomes had less than 8 incompletions because I saw about 3 drops yesterday. Let's just be honest, Dill. The Chiefs leads the NFL in drops. Like you said, Isaiah Pacheco had himself a great game. Shout out New Jersey. Isaiah, he just runs with some force, Dill. He
runs like mad.
He runs like he's trying to run through a wall, and that's what you gotta love.
Yeah, I do
like you
love
said, Rashid Rice had himself a day. He's their best weapon.
He
I'm
is.
officially say he's their best outside threat. Travis Kelce is no longer that because where is he's been? Travis Kelce, I took you over, my boy. You went 3 catches, 16 yards. What the fuck I'm supposed to do with that? I expect you to take over this game. I wanted to see a vintage Chiefs offense. Something we saw a couple years ago. We saw it in the first quarter when Andy Reid whipped up that play. But Dill, all I'm gonna say is Browning looked great in the first half, kind of slowed down in the second half when Spagnuolo really started dialing in that pressure. Then with Patrick Mahomes, he played well. Honestly, a semi-great, Dill. But the Chiefs are a running team now. Can I say that? Because
it looks like it.
It looks like it, Dill. Because Isaiah Pacheco, especially in the first half, he carried them. He carried this team, So we just gotta give credit to Andy Reid for finding different ways to win now, knowing that this might be the worst wide receiver core Patrick Mahomes ever had to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. Once in the second half, once Spagnuolo brought the pressure, Jake Browning looked flustered as hell. They didn't score in the second half, and
they couldn't.
They couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't move the ball. Joe Mixon had a pretty good game, but outside of that, they really couldn't get anything. They are eliminated now, 8-8. The Bengals, 8th straight title, for the AFC West. Kansas City Chiefs. They take care.
That's wild.
Yeah, I know. They've just owned that division. So they're in the playoffs, and we'll see what seed they end up with depending on last week. And then Sunday Night Football, Packers take care of business on the road. They fucking whooped the Vikings ass. I mean, if I'm being honest, when we were talking about it 2 days ago on Saturday, I was confused as the fact that they went back to Jaren Hall. Like Nick Mullins, yes, he threw a lot of interceptions, but he was moving the ball. And I just didn't understand why you move off of Nick Mullins. I thought Nick Mullins gave you the best opportunity for your offense to score points and to keep you in the game. I didn't think he was going to win the game, but he's definitely better than Jaren Hall. And I think we found out that pretty early when they benched him. But yeah, Nick Mullins, 13 for 23, 113 yards and a touchdown. Couldn't really run the ball with Madison or Ty Chandler. Justin Jefferson had an okay game, but really couldn't do anything all night. Give credit to the Green Bay and their defense. Jordan Love played a really good game, 24 for 33, 256 yards, 3 TDs, no sacks. I thought he played really good. Aaron Jones, another good game on the ground, over 100 yards there. Bo Melton, 6 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Jaden Reed had 2 TDs as well. Green Bay still alive, man.
Yeah, Dill. And by the way, he had 4 touchdowns, Dill. He had 1 on the ground. Jordan Love had himself a tremendous day, Dill. He looked poised. He looked great. Didn't look like a first-year starter to me, Dill. He went on the road and took care of business. 24 for 33, 3 tutties, 1 on the ground. Like I said on Saturday's show, Aaron Jones, what was it, like 50-something and a half, 51 and a half, was just disrespectful. The kid went for 120 plus, 125 plus last week. Dude went for 120 again. I hope they adjust next week, Dill, because I'm letting you know right now, Aaron Jones over next week. Because the numbers just disrespectful. Like you said, Dill, on the receiving side, the fact that they were able to put up these numbers without Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs didn't have a good game. Like you said, Milton, Jalen Reed, and Tucker Kraft, basically, made most of the plays on the offensive side, and Aaron Jones. And then with the Vikings on the opposite side, Dill, I'm 100% with you, Dill. I don't know what reason Jaren Hall started this game. I understand Nick Mullins turns the ball over, but at the end of the day, he moves the ball up and down the field. I understand he had 4 interceptions the other day. I understand the bad fumble going backwards. I understand that. But he moves the ball. Look at that. 13 for 22, 113. Jaren Hall in the first half was just a disgrace. He should never see the light of the field again.
That shit was bad.
It was bad, though. Like you saw the ball he overthrown. It was just a duck sailed 20 yards over everybody on the field that went over their heads by 20 yards.
I was sitting watching the game like, why isn't Nick Mullins in the game?
Like, bro, that's a fireable offense for the coach for letting that be displayed on live television.
Yeah.
That's a fireable offense. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, it was very bad. Packers still alive they're in the hunt right now, sitting at 8-8, and they have a 60%
and real
chance.
Quick, Dale,
yeah.
If the Vikings would have won this game, they could have walked their way into the playoffs with another win next week.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's a fireable offense. You kind of sabotage your team knowing Nick Mullins is moving the ball. Yeah, he turns the ball over, but you basically, the game was over first half just because you wanted to instill another quarterback.
Yeah, it was insane. I think they kind of waved the white flag. That's how I took it. I mean, their actions trotting out Jaren Hall is just, it's a fireable offense, honestly.
And whoever drafted him should be fired.
Yeah. But overall, not the best Sunday for me. Week 17, 4-6, down 2 units. Some things didn't go my way. Like DJ Chalk, he went over, then they reversed it and said it hit the ground. Tampa Bay, one of my biggest bets, didn't cash. Team total for Dallas kind of fucking shat the bed. Cooper Kupp got hurt. Rashid Rice, like I said, over 5.5. He landed at 5. But yeah, 4-6 on the week for me. How did you do, kid?
We did good. Good Sunday, bad Thursday and Saturday. 6-5 over the week, 6-3 on Sunday alone. My straight bets went well. Chicago -2.5. Aaron Jones over, Patriots +14. The under 42.5 with the New Orleans Tampa game. The sweatiest bet of all, Raiders +3.5. And then I hit a two-way teaser, lost a two-way teaser. Carolina got blown out. Rams, Kansas City, they handled business. And then my losses was the props still. Devontae Smith, he went under by 26 yards, and then Travis Kelce simply didn't show up, Dill. and then with my leans, I should have took with my leans. I had Texans -4, and then the Green Bay money line -102. I should have just stood with that, but still had a positive week, and I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago -2.5 was the freest bet of the week. I should have took that.
I don't know why you didn't take that. I don't know how.
I don't know. Hey, I'm still live for over 7.5 wins. I need a week 18 win, kid. Let's before we get into college football playoffs, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. No wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's playing around the golf with the boys or in Elderberry watching Alabama versus Michigan, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, kid, let's get to it. By the way, how did you do over the weekend on your bowl bets? I got there with Ole Miss, but outside of that, nothing really.
Dude, I went 0-1, Dill. Rutgers hit. Rutgers is 1-1. 1-1, Dill. I'll take that.
All right, let's get to the first game of the college playoffs. Alabama taking on Michigan. I think it's not the Citrus Bowl. It is it's the Rose Bowl. It's the Rose Bowl in Pasadena right now. Michigan is the 2-point favorite. Money is coming in. It was a 1-point spread. It opened up now. Money's coming in on Michigan -2.5, -137 on the money line. For Alabama, +114 on the buyback on the money line. Over unders at 45.5. Elvis, this has been a big bounce back season for Jalen Monroe and Alabama. Can they keep it going and knock off the team up north?
Still, There's been a lot of noise. I know you heard the quarterback come on and say, "How would you feel if your offensive coordinator
Bill
did this?"
O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien, you have bad quarterback assessment because what this kid is doing, leading Alabama, week 3 on, is just special. Dill, I must just say this. I don't give a piss about nothing but time. With that being said, Dill, give me Alabama on the money line. Plus 108, plus 114, whatever you get it at. Michigan has been good. John Harbaugh, I expect to be on the sideline today, whatever. But Dill, this Alabama team, I just don't think offensively Michigan has enough for them. I think I'm going to lean the under as well, 45 and a half. I don't see a ton of points being scored. I'm going to say 24-17, Bama. I know both defenses are going to show up. I just feel like Alabama's going to do a little more offensively. Michigan, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch it, but give me Alabama plus 108 on the money line.
Yeah, I agree. I took Alabama. Like I said, at the book I'm looking at right now, plus 114. So if you want to maybe wait, maybe you could continue to get a better number as well. But yeah, I'm going Alabama. Can't bet against them. I've tried to fade them all season and it just hasn't worked out. Besides that hiccup against Texas, I think this team has been flawless. Jalen Monroe has proved all the doubters wrong. And I don't think offensively Michigan can hang, if I'm being honest. I think if it becomes a shootout, Alabama is just going to run this game away, if I'm being honest. I just don't know. I really think the way both of them had a month to prepare, so we'll see. Jim Harbaugh, I think this is his last hurrah in college. He hired Tom Brady's agent, an NFL guy. He's probably going to go into the NFL. He's been flirting with it for the past few years now. And I just don't think he gets past Alabama. I'm also going to go Isaiah Bond over 3.5 receptions. It's the receiver for Alabama. His target share is 25%. He leads in targets and receptions out of the slot for Alabama. So, I just think he's gone over this in 5 of his last 8 games, and he gets the most targets and receptions on this team. So I think Jalen Monroe has a really good relationship with Isaiah Bond. And it's at plus money. So Isaiah Bond over 3.5 receptions at plus 108 is my second play. So, yeah, we're both on Alabama. Roll Tide. And then the next game it is, I want to say it's the Sugar Bowl. Don't know. Do you know what the Washington Bowl game is? I know it's at the Superdome. It doesn't matter if I'm being honest.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say. But Texas laying 3.5, minus 184 on the money line, plus 3.5 for Washington, plus 152 on the money line for them. Over unders at 62.5. Should be a really good game. Are you surprised Texas is the favorite?
A little bit, to be honest. I think Washington at least deserves to be the favorite. So, with that being said, I didn't take it officially, but I'm going to take Washington plus 4. To be honest, I think you even got to sprinkle something on the money line. I understand why. I can see why Texas is favored, But to be honest, I think Washington is the right side. I think at plus 152 is a great number on the money line. At the end, there's a neutral site. I think that's going to be it. At the end of the day, if this game was in Texas, I understand they'll be favored. But a neutral site, I don't know. I think Washington's going to show up. Maybe they think it's just going to be overloaded with Longhorn fans just because it's in the South and it's just more, diehard Longhorn fans than there are Washington fans. So maybe that, but still, it's a lean as of right now. Give me Washington plus 4.
Yeah, I took it about when the lines dropped. Washington was 4.5 favorites or underdogs, and I took the 4 in the hook. I mean, I think they went outright. I think Michael Penix Jr. and this wide receiving crew is one of the best in the country, and I think they're getting a little disrespected against Texas. And I like Texas. I think they're a very physical team. They have a good defense. I think they have a good offense as well, especially Worthy, one of the receivers. I think he's really good. I was looking at his receiving yards. It was at 69.5. I didn't get to the window, but I was looking at it. But I'm going to take Washington plus 4.5. I think they're live on the money line as well. And I think it's going to be Washington versus Alabama in the national championship. So we're both on Washington. We're both on it. Anything on the total for this one? I would lean under. It started at 64.5. It's come down to 62. So it's trending towards an under. What do you think? Any opinion?
Same deal. Just because some of these bowl games, they've all been trending towards the under. I expect the defense to show up. I expect a little nerve, especially in the first quarter. Maybe the bright lights gets to them. So Dill, I think we got to go with the under. Yes, it could possibly be a shootout, but if anything, go with the first quarter under. Maybe the lights might be a little too bright for the young bulls to start the game.
All right, kid. Good luck. Hopefully we get two good games today, and national championship will be next week. Let's transition to the NBA. Let's bring in the new year. We got 6 games on the slate, but we have to give a round of applause to the Detroit Pistons. They finally break through. They get a win against Toronto. Of course, Toronto's the team that winds up losing, but they break it. They are 3-29. 1-9 in their last 10, kid. But anything for this slate? We got some good games like the Pacers, Bucks. I think that's a pretty good game. Knicks, Minnesota's a pretty good game as well. What do you got on the slate for today?
Dill, I got 3 plays with 1 lean, Dill, so I'm gonna just read off my plays. Minnesota, Timberwolves taking on the New York Knicks, 3 o'clock start, Dill. I'm gonna take the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road, Dill, -118 on the money line, Dill. And I'm gonna lean Anthony Edwards over 29.5 points. I think it was like a +102 or something like that, Dill. He has a chance to go for a 30-piece. Like I said, at the end of the day, superstars ball out in Madison Square Garden. So what's a better place to ball out on the new year? I think Anthony Edwards and company take care of business. 8 o'clock start. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers +8.5. Over under. Damn, 260.5. Still, I ended up taking it earlier. I'll still lean the -8.5, but give me the Milwaukee Bucks -7.5. Like I said, the Bucks, they still got a sour taste from that semi-loss against the Pacers. I expect them to take care of business against them every chance they get. It got a little scrappy between them. Remember, this dude Giannis scored like 60. They took the ball. So just know it might get a little chippy out there, especially during this game. And I hope it does. I expect it to be a great one. But give me the Bucks -7.5. I expect to take care of business just because them dudes was playing with Giannis ball last time. And then my last game of the night will be the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Utah Jazz. Dallas -3 on the road. Over under sitting at 245.5. Dill. Give me the Dallas Mavericks -3 on the road, Dill. I just feel like the Mavericks are just a flat out much better team. Can Utah surprise them? Absolutely. But to be honest, Dill, I think Dallas take care of business on the road. Give me the -3, -3.5, whatever you get it.
2 player props for me. I'm going to go Tyrese Halliburton over 29.5 points and rebounds, the player combo. New year, it doesn't really matter. Bucks have defensive problems as well as the total is so high. And, Halliburton's destroyed the Bucks this season. He averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists in 3 starts. I'm targeting the points and rebounds prop because his average against the Bucks in both points and rebounds upticks from 22 to 24 points and 4 rebounds. And his assists are actually lower against them, 2.1 fewer assists. But in the 3 games, he's gone over this 2 or 3 games against Milwaukee, averaging 32 points and rebounds combined. So I think he starts the year strong off. Give me over 29.5 points and rebounds for Tyrese Halliburton. And the last player prop, I'll go to that Charlotte and Denver game. Give me the Joker over 12.5 rebounds. I think this number is too low. I think it should be at least 13, 14, especially given the history he has against the Hornets. He's recorded 27, 16, and 10 rebounds against the Hornets. And that 10 rebound game was odd because Jamal Murray that game had 12 rebounds himself. Hornets are going to be without Mark Williams. He has a back injury, so I think he dominates on the glass. He should easily clear 12.5 rebounds. But, yeah, those are my 2 plays for the NBA today. Anything else, kid, before we get up out of here? Good EP.
Nah, Dill, that's all. You know what, Dill? Iowa taking on Tennessee. Give me Iowa +5.5. Why not? It's bowl season. We've been struggling. Let's try to get on the win column. At the end of the day, I think Iowa's a little better than Tennessee. They just produce tight ends. I expect the tight ends to have a great game. To be honest, Tennessee's good, but I just think Iowa take care of business. Over and they're sitting at 37. Dill, if it's gonna go under, Iowa's taking care of business.
Elvis, good luck. Everyone have a great year. Good luck on all your bets. That is going to do it for this Monday edition of the Dream Wager. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Elvis, myself. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. We'll recap the college playoffs. We'll give you our Week 18 power rankings. So make sure you guys follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at the Dream Wager. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday on YouTube, youtube.com/The Dream Wager. Hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review, leave in the comments who you are taking this Monday. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone have a great few days. Good luck on your wagers. Be safe, be well, and we will see you guys down the road. Peace.